Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Musa Stadium as we are here for the USA Cricket Women's Nationals 2023. An exciting time to be in Pearland, Texas. It is another hot Pearland day. If you've ever been down here, plenty of waters, Gatorades, bananas, almonds being drank to keep everybody hydrated and ready to go. And so if we look at today's match here at Musa Stadium, it features the Southeast Central and the Eastern side. So both teams will be taking a look at each other. The Southeast won the toss. They elected to bat first. And some historic day here in Pearland, Texas. Not just for the players, but for the umpires as well. Was having a word with one of the umpires who have been around for a very long time, has seen a lot for USA Women's Cricket, Ivy Mahambir, member of the Cricket Hall of Fame, former national team player, a coach in the USA. But she said today is the first time where she'll be walking out with another female umpire. And she says this could be the first time that we have two women umpiring today's match. So a very historic day in Pearland, Texas. Again, we have a 2 o'clock start here. So just 2 minutes till we'll get things underway and ready to go. While we wait in those 2 minutes, we can read you the 11s for each side, starting with the Southeast Central, featuring Pooja Ganesh, who will keep wicket today, Ritu Singh, who is the captain, Mithali Partwardhan, Jessica Ulam-Tangamia, Geetika Kodali, of course, an experienced side in its own right, Sasha Valambenani. Afia Kazi also will feature in this 11 alongside Bhumika Badraju, Adni Abao, Savani Kambapali, and Shravya Kanumuri. That is the 11 for the Southeast Central. And for the Eastern side, again, if you remember from last Women's National Championships, we saw two teams. And we get the first ball here. And starting well is number 8, Isabel Slade Jones. This will be her first time here at the Women's National. She's just 13 years of age, and again, exciting how much young talent is being involved in this tournament. Again, good to see for the medium pacer who was getting raved about this morning from Ivy Mahambir, talking about just how good she is, has a brother that plays cricket as well. So something that runs in the family, and she's starting off right on off stump, right where you want to be. This one pushed into the offside. They'll go for a quick single. Chance of a run out. Unable to collect it. Had Izzy Jones collected that one, it would have been the first wicket, and Pooja Ganesh, another youngster, would have been sent back walking. It's a little bit of a mix-up there between Captain Ritu Singh and Pooja Ganesh. And even with Pooja Ganesh's young age of 15, has already played for the USA Women's Under-19 side. So has Ritu Singh. Good movement here for Izzy Slade Jones. It's not a lot of cloud cover. Very hot, very humid. was 99 degrees right before we started play. A big swing from Ritu Singh, unable to get anything on it, but this is a good over here from Izzy Slade-Jones. She's already shown her ability to be consistent with her lengths and her line. Hasn't really steered far from off stump. All just out of the reach of the drive. This one floated up. It's a full toss. Met and well struck. Ritu Singh, she'll bring up the first boundary of the day with that 4 through mid-wicket. Got the punishment that time. Just a touch. Too full that from Izzy Slade-Jones. Not going to be a terrible over. Just 5 coming from it. But Ritu Singh showing why she's up here opening the batting. So it's a good first over for both sides. Izzy Slade-Jones showed her ability. Just gave up 5 runs, and Ritu Singh was able to hit her first boundary of the day, known for her big hitting. Again, we mentioned the youth that'll be displayed. Just 17 years of age is Ritu Singh, captaining the Southeast Central this year. And we'll see some spin early from Melanie Henry, who is the captain of this Eastern side today. And so we'll get to see if there's some turn on the wicket. You've already seen a little bit of movement coming off. Up at the stumps has been Aparna Gurumarti. Started there with Izzy Slade-Jones, and now for Henry. Starts well, right on stumps, and another mix-up, another opportunity for a run out, collected and given straight away. Pooja Ganeshi survived in the first over. This time, there was no chance at her surviving. The throw was collected. Again, it was another one that was just dabbed away from off stump, and you can see the frustration for Pooja Ganesh. She's a young talent, and she's not going to like that. Goes with just 1 run to her name. And again, something that we saw early on in that first over was the potential run out. Well, the East is going to be thrilled about it. The first wicket falls in the second over. Can compose was Melanie Henry in receiving that one. The call was clear too from Aparna Gurumarti. Made sure the throw went to the bowler. And not the start the Southeast Central would have envisioned, choosing to bat first. But that'll bring out number 9, Mitali Partwardhan, into the middle. And she'll have to be sitting at the non-striker's end. Watching her captain at the other end. And again, we're going to see if there's some clear calls coming from Ritu Singh and Mitali Partwardhan. They can be on the same page here. Again, quick through the air. Melanie Henry not looking to put any real flight on it. This one, big swing. Not going to get through the infield, though. A deep cover in place. So there is a gap to be had on the offside. Everyone else inside the circle. Of course, we are inside the power play. This one just fended away by Ritu Singh. Melanie Henry, a good over. No runs to be had. We've already talked about the run out. And it's a very windy day here in Pearland, Texas. The winds can pick up pretty quickly. And so you might see a couple of bails fly off, and the umpire's just having a word there, taking a look at the ball. Can we talk about the youth that will be on display here today? Melanie Henry, one of the more experienced campaigners. Originally from Guyana, 33 years of age, and still showing the youngsters that she's got plenty left in the tank. And again, this over is just proving that. This one straying onto the legs. It's been worked through mid-wicket. They'll get that single, and a missed field will allow them to come back for two. It's good alert running there from the Southeast Central. Again, what you're going to want to see from those two after that initial run out of Puja Ganesh. And Yorkshire. Good work there for Melanie Henry. The runs turned down. And brings upon the end of a good over for the East and captain Melanie Henry. And at the end of the second over, it's 7 without loss. Excuse me, at the end of the first over, it's 7 for the loss of 1. So now we'll get to see our first look at Mitali Partwardhan, who originates in the North Carolina area in Morrisville, where, of course, we see Church Street Park. And Isabel Slade-Jones will come back for her second over. Went for 5 in her first. Starts on the legs, and first time we've seen her come off from off stump. But again, we've already seen her today with some good movement through the air. We mentioned just 13 years of age, plays up in the Mid-Atlantic area. This one again on a length outside the off stump, but they're unable to fend that away. I think the real interesting question will be, what are the targets in mind here for the Southeast Central? Remember last year, a lot of the games would just get up to that 100-run mark in the 90s. So is that the target they're eyeing? This one wider and given wide from umpire Ivy Mohambir. And you can see the wicketkeeper for the East, Aparna Gurumarthy, up to the stumps, just a couple of steps behind. So there's something to keep in mind if you're a batter, not wanting to really advance. This time on the legs, and just work through the leg side. No fielder out in the deep there. It won't get to the boundary. Confused again. Chance of another run out. It's hit and says no. Ritu Singh had to force the dive. And you can see Melanie Henry was forcing the issue on her own right, too, coming in from her short cover position to get the balls onto the stumps. But Ritu Singh ends up home. Again, this is not what you're going to want to see if you're the Southeast Central. Already some mix-ups between the wickets. Going to want to get those calls clear and don't want to lose wickets that way. Want to make the bowlers earn them. And there was always one on offer. The second was probably there had they run straight away. The This one just defended away from Bartwarden. Like we mentioned, Isabel Slade-Jones here in Pearland for the Women's Nationals for the first time. So to see her opening the bowling, performing as well as she is to start things off, really promising signs for cricket in the USA. Another promising sign would be that this year, we already mentioned there was 2 teams last year. There's 4 teams here this year, which is fantastic to see. Again, the growth of the game through this country of ours, and especially through women's programs and girls' programs all over the country. Again, if you're wondering where the other 2 teams are playing, they're playing on the Balkis field, just over the corner from Moosa Stadium, just around the hump, if you will. This one just worked into the leg side and nowhere really to go here. Bartwarden struggling to get the runs flowing in real regard, but that'll end the third over. It's 10 for the loss of 1. Captain Melanie Henry will continue. More flight on offer, much fuller. A misfield at backward square will lead to 1. They won't come back for the second. But we saw a lot from Melanie Henry as we see a ball being passed on, and luckily everyone's all right in that encounter. But back to Melanie Henry, what she did in her first over, much flatter. We saw her hit a length right outside the off stump and dare the batters to cut. Starting off here, she's flighted it up, gone fuller, and we saw her at the end of that her first over get fuller to read through Singh. We'll see if that continues for Matali Bartwarden, or if she goes back to that length. Very experienced. Again, does get flatter in the air. And again, she's someone who a lot of these youngsters can turn to. Has played a lot of cricket in Guyana and since coming to the United States. And it's a packed field inside the ring on the offside. In fact, there's not a fielder in the deep at the moment. Everyone inside the ring. So daring either of these 2 batters to go over the top. This one unable to be collected from Henry. It's a direct hit, but Bartwarden well home. Good cricket all around. It was good delivery and good sharp running from the Southeast Central. The call came out crisp, and then good underarm throw from Adia Rawat. Again here at Moosa Stadium. It's another hot one. If you've ever been down to Pearland, Texas, just outside of Houston, very humid, very hot. Winds can pick up as well. And sometimes those winds can be friendly, and sometimes it can feel like it's just a fan blowing hot air at you. If you've ever experienced that, it's not something that you would necessarily enjoy. It's good to see a lot of family about, and they're going to be packing out the King stand here at Moosa, and then at Balkis, they'll be out there as well. This one, big swing, and it's gone through her. Henry goes back to the length, and it's worked. It's taken off in middle. Ritu Singh just looking to take a big heave into the leg side, and I think that's also why you've seen the field kind of collapse, daring that shot from the skipper. Unable to make contact, just playing around it. And the East, they've got to be thrilled. They've got the second wicket here in the fourth over. It's 12 for 2 now. As we welcome you back here to Pearland, Texas, the East have to feel really happy with what they've done in their first 4 overs. 2 wickets, just giving up 12 runs. The new batter is left-hander Jessica Wulantagamua. So our first lefty bat in the game, and I'm sure she and the rest of the Southeast Central had not envisioned her coming out to bat in the fourth over. She'll have to finish this over out from Melanie Henry. Another really impressive over from the East and Captain Henry. And at the end of the fourth over, it's 12 for 2. So the new bowler for the East is another experienced player, Annika Wallerson. She's represented the U.S. women's national team. We're going to see her medium pace now, replacing Isabel Slade-Jones, who is impressive in her first 2 overs. Down the leg side, Barthwarthen gets it through the infield. And we'll get it all the way to the boundary rope. It'll be 4 runs and a much-needed 4 runs for the Southeast Central. They kind of hit a lull. The wickets were falling. The runs weren't flowing. Barthwarthen got one on her legs that sat up, asked to be hit, and she did what deserved of it. Again, you can see the wind picking up in your camera. That's not someone shaking the camera. Nope, that's the wind. That's what's taking off the bails at the moment as well. So the wind really picking up here on another hot day in Pearland. That just the second boundary of the innings. Remember, Ritu Singh had the first and that first over. But since then, it's been hard to score for the Southeast Central. This time much better on stumps and not much else Mithali Barthwarthen could have done with that one. balls haven't really risen off the deck here. It's been a really well done wicket by the whole crew at Musa. This one dug in short. It sat up, asked to be hit, and moved it away from the fielder just enough. It'll be another 4 for Murtali Partwardan. Just taking it from outside the off stump. Again, it was really a half-tracker that asked to be hit. And Murtali Partwardan put some authority in this innings. Getting some love from the entire Southeast Central bench and her partner at the other end. The biggest over so far, with those 8 runs coming from it. Fuller in length, driven, and well stopped at short cover. Captain Melanie Henry, she's all over it. Again, sitting in short. Still no fielders out in the deep. Here in the 5th, everyone inside the ring. But Partwardan has shown her ability to find gaps. This one a full toss in the air and taken. And that's going to be the 3rd. Partwardan, you can see her looking for maybe a no ball, and she's disappointed. She's got a full toss and has just found Melanie Henry at short cover. We were just talking about how good she's been in the field already. And takes another sharp catch. It came off the bat quickly. Reacted quick enough. Moved to her right. And made it look all so easy. The East, they're finding wickets in regular intervals now. With 20 runs on the board, the 3rd wicket falls here in the 5th over. The new batter here for the Southeast Central is Geetika Godali. You would have recognized her for all she's done for USA women's cricket with the national team and with the under-19 team, as well as in fair break. That's been really terrific for women's cricket all over the world. She's just 19 years of age and born in California. Lives in North Carolina and now here in Pearland, Texas, seeing off the final ball from that over from Annika Wallerson, who's got the wicket. Exactly what the East would have looked for. And that is the end of the 5th over. It's 20 for 3. The new bowler for the East, as you get a look at Jessica Willamtungamia. We'll have some work cut out for her, as the new bowler for the East is Aditi Judasama. So we'll see another off-spinner bowling in to the left-hander. And we mentioned Geetika Godali and what all she's done. That's a good start there for Aditi. We'll see if that found any bit of batter. Was it a bye? The umpire saying there was some bat involved in that one. But for Aditi, has represented the USA at the under-19 level, also played in fair break for the Sapphires. Was the best batter in the 2022 National Championship. And so we'll get to see her exploits later. Showed an impressive ability to strike at a high rate. And The umpire has since signaled a bye for that previous delivery. But one of my favorite shots from Aditi Chudasama was her shot over cover, as we see a change in the field, a deep mid-wicket out for Geetika Kodali. This one just worked into that gap. I'll find one from it. Smart cricket that from Kodali. Saw it on a length. Didn't try to do too much. Just works it into the gap. And it's a rebuilding process here for the Southeast Central. Again, 3 wickets already gone. Last over of the power play. And you can see Aditi Chudasama, a little bit different tactic from the other off spinner of Melanie Henry, who was a little bit flatter through the air. Plenty of flight offered from Aditi, daring these two to go down the ground. This one just tucked into the leg side. I'll find that other signal. Again, the East have to be happy with where they are. Just 20-odd runs on the board and 3 wickets already down. We mentioned last year how with the 2 teams we saw scores from anywhere from 90s to the hundreds would be where you range, and what's the target you're looking at if you're the Southeast Central. This one out wide and is given a wide there. Chasing it was Geetika Kodali, looking to go over covers. There is no fielder out on the offside, and so you got to be careful if you are Aditi Chudasama. Don't want to get too far outside off. Again, flight, and again worked into the offside. A clean collection could have been something there. Melanie Henry, we've talked about how good she's been in the field. Unable to pick that up on the first go. Had she have been able to, I think one of the two of Jessica or Geetika could have been in trouble. But nonetheless, starting to get some singles going here are the Southeast Central. Really important. And again, smart cricket getting the singles. This one's fired in. But that clear call, the singles being gone in regular intervals. And at the end of the power play, it's 26 for 3. And it'll be Annika Wallerson to continue here in Pearland, Texas at Moosa Stadium for this 2023 USA Cricket Women's Nationals. As this one is firmly driven. 2 experienced campaigners at the crease for the Southeast Central. Jess, of course, captained a game last year in the Nationals. Geetika last year was the captain of that southern region. And for Jessica, the field opens up a little bit. A deep mid-wicket out. So again, just trying to close up runs on that side of the field. This one is driven straight back down the ground. Just to the left of mid-on and allows that single. And we've seen the East been really precise with their plans so far. They've been on stumps, haven't been giving a lot of room. This one coming back in, and it's cleaned her up. And a big celebration there for Annika Wallerson. Just a brilliant delivery that. It was just nipping in a little bit. Forced Kodali to just close the bat face, and it's might have just come off a pad, but it ends up finding the stumps. We'll take a look at this replay here. Again, just angling in, and I think just came off that right leg of Geetika Kodali. The big celebration, the finger going up. And another wicket falls for the Southeast Central. And the East, they're having a brilliant time as they see another wicket fall again. We'll take another look. This is probably the angle we're going to want to be at. Again, you can see that coming back in and again, just finding its way onto stumps. And Geetika Kodali has to go back walking. And again, an experienced player like that out, it's got to be a big confidence booster for the East. And coming in for the Southeast Central, it'll be Sasha Valambani. Tricky situation, and Sasha just 16 years old from Florida. Playing in her first nationals, was just up in Canada alongside Geetika Kodali and many of the players you'll see here today for what was deemed the Big Bash as a part of the St. Louis American Women's National Big Bash 2023 in Canada, and got back early this morning. This one is driven straight back. And a run straight away for Sasha. She'll enjoy that. Just being off the mark as she's seen a string of low scores from her teammates. Seeing the captain and vice captain gone. This one again worked into that same region and it's misfielded. Opportunity to come back for two, and they'll take it. Again, smart running, and it's good batting as well. You can see the full face coming down from Jessica, not trying to heave it into the leg side. Just place it in between those two fielders on the on. Those previous two deliveries, Anika Wallerson just getting a little bit too full. It's going to want to pull that length back as it's angling back into the stumps. This time uses her legs, gets it into the offside. A little confusion on where to throw, and I think that keeps both runners safe. Had that throw come out a little bit quicker, maybe could have been another possible chance for the East, but they'll take the over. So they'll enjoy what they've seen from it. They've seen another wicket fall. And at the end of the seventh over, it's 31 for 4. Speaking of players who are up in Canada, as we welcome you back to Moosa Stadium, Aditi Chudasama was one of those players. This one's just pushed into the offside, and they'll get that single. Jessica's found an ability to find singles, which is really important here for the Southeast Central. I think the big thing to take away is that you're not going to make all of these up, all these runs that you should have had. You're not going to make them up in one ball. It's about building a partnership, being in there for long periods of time now. At least give yourself a couple of overs. Again, really sharp stuff here from Aditi Chudasama. Doesn't really look to waste any time. Is ready to get going as soon as she gets the ball back. And sliding up deliveries this time. Just straying too far outside off, and I'm wondering if that's a tactic for the right-handers not wanting to be taken into the leg side, is pushing it out wider. This one flighted up, and it's a good length that I think from Aditi Chudasama. I think that's where she'd want to be operating. You see a little bit of indecision from Sasha there to whether to go forward or backwards. This time on stumps, it's worked into the leg side for one. Again, the East would be very happy, though. None of the bowlers have been expensive. You would think of Anika Wallerson's first over, where he gave up 8 runs, but you ended up taking the wicket after getting hit for 2 boundaries. And since then, no boundaries being found. defended away. No run on offer. She's found a real liking to the left-handers, Aditi. Again, only giving up 8 runs through 11 deliveries. Again, flighted, again on stumps. A quick single. They'll get it in the end. It's a good way to close out the 8th over, though, for the East. They'll take it. It's 35 for 4. The new bowler for the East will see pace once again from this end of the ground, from the commentator box end of the ground. It's Kasturi Vendantam, who will be starting off to the left-handed Jessica, and a couple fielding adjustments here. We've seen mid-off go back to the boundary, and that deep mid-wicket stays out. And starts with a full toss. It's up in the air. It's where mid-on would have been. But it'll just keep it to 1. Going to want to find her length here is Kasturi. Kasturi, of course, part of that inaugural ICC Under-19 Women's T20 World Cup squad. Impressed in last year's Nationals. I remember being thoroughly impressed about how well she was able to control her deliveries. And a little bit of a commentator's curse that for Kasturi. It's going to be 5 wides down the leg side, and as we were speaking about control, it just goes back down the leg side, angling it too far down. And they call it a breakfast ball in golf, if you will. And just trying to roll her arm now is Kasturi. Not going to want to find too many more wides, though. Again, she does have that natural angle back into the right-hander. Again, angling down into the pads, though. Well done at short mid-wicket to keep it to just 1. The East has shown really good cricket, not just with the ball in hand, but in the field. For the Southeast Central, they're going to rely on Jessica, who's just on your screen. This one well bowled, that from Kasturi. She's starting to find her length, find her rhythm. I think it's a big thing for pace bowlers when the wind is blowing. Sometimes can affect the run-up. The wind does swirl here in Pearland, so can blow back in to the bowler's face when you're bowling from the commentary box end of the ground. This one again, outside the off stump. Again, you see that natural angle. It comes from the wrist position that Kasturi has. It's a very natural thing. It's very much something that you just bowl, or it ends up being that way. You're not really thinking about, if you want to angle it in or out. It's just kind of when you're picking things up. A very young player is Kasturi. It's just kind of something that happens as you develop. This one just angles too far down, though. Again, just trying to keep it outside of Jessica's reach. Wondering if she might favor coming over the wicket to the left-hander, just with that angle coming across Again, we've seen success on both ends of the wicket with both men and women's cricket. If you want to think about the most famous example of a right arm bowler who moves it away to a left-hander, as we see another wide here from Kasturi, you think of the Stuart Broad, David Warner battle. But then you'll see plenty of right armers, as Kasturi is now doing, come over the wicket to the left armor. If you want to stay in the ashes, think about Mark Wood and what he did to Usman Khawaja from over the stumps. It's in the air. It's going to fall safely, but I think Kasturi is going to like that. That's kind of the area. And with Jessica's willingness to drive, one just starts to move away a little bit more. Talk about a thick outside edge that could go to backward point. She's found, I think, how she's going to attack Jessica on her next over, but now it's about getting through this over. It's already gone for 11 runs. And it's angling down on the legs. It was angling down the leg side, but it's well bowled. A good finish from Kasturi there. 9 overs gone. It's 46 for 4. So it looks like we're going to see the captain return for the East. Melanie Henry, and why not? She bowled well, was taking wickets. I think she's seen an expensive over go by. Just wants to wrap things up a little bit. Tighten things down. Does have the left-hander. So favoring the off spinners, and we've already seen 2 in action. A couple others in the squad, and we could get to see a couple of others later in the tournament. Again, this 2023 Women's Nationals will span over 3 days. Today, we have 2 games today. We'll have 4 games tomorrow. Again, of course, games being played on 2 different fields here at Musa Stadium. And then we have games being played on the Balkis field just behind where Melanie is standing. And then we'll have the final and the third place game on Friday. So make sure you tune in for all of the coverage here. It's going to be some exciting games and see some exciting young talent. It's a full toss that's found its way through backward point. Will be a couple of runs. Won't get all the way to the boundary. Wasn't quite timed well enough. But they'll come back for 2, and it's been given a no ball. So some freebies. We saw the extras in the previous over. Melanie Henry starts with 1 of her own. Her previous 2 overs went for a combined 4 runs. Already 3 given up that first ball. This one, though, was swing and a miss from Jessica, looking to heave it straight back over the top. Again, Henry, an experienced campaigner, a cool customer, not going to freak out about an extra or any little thing, has a plan and executes those quite well. This one, aerial. That mid-on fielder back to long on. And again, you can take a look at the wonderful Musa Stadium, and again, a lot of hard work being done by the staff and the grounds crew here, making sure we were ready for this event. A lot of man hours, and want to thank everybody who's been involved and been helping out. A lot of volunteers as well. So it's been good to see everybody getting ready and pushing for cricket, making this possible. Again, seeing the expansion and growth of cricket, not just, through seeing some big stars in the country, but seeing more and more women and girls picking up the game. We mentioned already 2 teams in 2022, 4 teams in 2023. Across more area, and that's really important. This one, well done at backward point. Again, he's just trying to take advantage of that gap there, but unable to squeeze it behind point enough is Sasha. And this one just pushed back. Melanie Henry, after that initial no ball, cleans things up, just gives up 1 run after that. 10 overs gone. It's 50 for 4. So we'll welcome you back here to Musa Stadium. We had a quick mid-innings break there. Again, very, very hot. Plus 100 degrees and the humidity upwards of 90%. So you can feel for everybody out there. And in that shot, you can see not just the batter and the keeper, Jessica and Aparna, but you can also see the other game going on at the other ground. So plenty of action here in Pearland, Texas. Incredible to see. We were speaking of how good backward point was fielding the previous over. It's Adya Rawat who is standing there backward point, who now will have the ball in her hand. You see smiles from Jessica and Aparna. And what's really amazing about the atmosphere here in Pearland and amongst the teams is all these girls and women, they know each other. They've played together. They've seen each other, whether nationals or regional competitions or whether it's just local games. And travel tournaments. They've all been around each other enough to where it all feels like one big family. And that's a great atmosphere surrounding USA Women's Cricket. And we'll get to see our first look at Adya. Went for the big slog and just found the inner half of the bat. Did Jessica. Comes off the leg, and you can see the disappointment. This one just straying down the leg side. Aparna can't get quite to that area. They'll get one more off that wide, and we'll get to see Sasha on strike now. And Sasha's played 10 deliveries, hasn't been able to find the gaps, and we saw her, again, the last over hit a couple balls to Adya Rawat. And so we'll see what she can do now facing Rawat. And just pushed into the leg side and just finding that fielder at short mid-wicket. Struggling to find some gaps is the 16-year-old from Florida who will also feature with the ball. A couple overs. I'm sure we'll see of her. This one, again, just looks hesitant almost to drive in any real capacity. But a lot of that due to the good bowling of what the East has done, and Adya Rawat in particular right now. It's been adding around stumps the whole time. Again, the wind blowing mighty heavily. A little bit of movement on that one. Gets through Melanie Harris for one, but again, you saw it there from Sasha, the drive coming out. Hadn't really seen that, more of just pokes. Just pushes. This time did drive into it, stepped into it, let the weight transfer. And this one just inside that wide line. And again, Jessica's not looked at her free-flowing best. I've seen her on a couple of occasions, not just last year's Nationals, but seeing her in North Carolina playing matches and in Atlanta. Seen really good ability to find gas, but Adya Rawat, really good end to that over. Kept it away and out of the arc of Jessica. That'll end the 11th over. It's 53 for 4. We welcome you back here to Musa Stadium and this match between the Southeast Central and the East. And we'll see a new bowler, Lekha Shetty, comes into bowl. It's the first time we're going to see some pace from the other end of the ground. From the end of the ground closest to the Balkys field, and playing a lot in Northern Virginia is Lekha Shetty, and now we'll get to see what she can do here in Pearland, Texas. This one struck through the offside. We'll find a run there, will Sasha, and that'll do her confidence well to see the last two balls she's played come off for singles, finding the gaps. And you see Melanie Henry, the captain of the East, walk through your screen there. Stay around the stumps and at least off stump. This one pushed through the covers, beats the fielder inside the ring. And there is a deep cover for Sasha, so there is that gap, and she's found gaps now in the last three. little laugh being had in the middle from the two batters, and can you love to see that? Two individuals enjoying their cricket. Look at Melanie Henry and how close she is to the wicket here. Left alone there from Jessica, and again, the plan has seemed to be keep the ball out of the arc of her and don't let her hit into the leg side, go over covers. Again, aerial. Again, where there's no fielder. We already mentioned that long off fielder there. And Melanie Henry's so active. You can see her pat her bowler on the back. And we already saw it earlier with Isabel Slade-Jones when there was a run-out chance. She ran up to the wicket on the bowler's end and took the bails off. And here in front of the stumps again. Can't keep her out of the game. This one nicely timed and again into that cover region, allowing that single to be had to finish off the 12th over. It'd be a good over for the Southeast Central. They'll be happy with that. It's 58 for 4. And it's Adi Arawa to continue here at Musa Stadium in this 2023 Women's Nationals. Again, a privilege to be down here and witness this live. This is good work by the East. That one just dabbed to mid-wicket and again keeping the batters bay. But plenty of history here in this tournament. 2 women umpiring today's match, and Ivy Mohambir, who's been around USA Women's Cricket since 2007. As this one will come off the inner half of the bat for 1. Ivy Mohambir says this is the first time she'll be walking out with another woman to umpire, and the first time it's happened in a tournament like this for the USA. And also we've already mentioned the expansion from 2 teams to 4 teams. So again, really exciting times here for USA Women's Cricket. And the Southeast Central knocking off to the start they would have wanted. 4 wickets in the power play. Since is clawed back, and this one beats the fielder inside the ring. It's running all the way down, and it's going to be 4. The first 4 since Matali Portuardan had those 2 earlier in this innings. Been a much-needed boundary for the Southeast Central. I was just getting ready to say they've looked more confident. They've looked more comfortable. Both Jessica and Sasha have found gaps, getting runs flowing, at least in the form of singles. And with that boundary, Jessica will move into the 20s now. A real rebuild innings. This one again, attempting to dab it fine. Has looked to play that shot on a couple of occasions. Hasn't come off quite yet. The field expanded. Now we see a long off, a long on, a deep mid-wicket. All straight back down the ground, so you can see the idea for Jessica to play it behind the keeper. This time fends it out, fends it to short third, and they'll find a single. And this is what these 2 batters have been able to do, Sasha and Jessica, is find those singles. Early on, we mentioned how it was tough for both to find gaps or unable to get contact or just finding fielders. Since it's been tough, but with fielding like that, there's no question as to why it's been tough. Melanie Henry with a terrific effort out there at short cover, been all over the game, and at the end of the 13th over, it's 64 for 4. Here in Pearland, Texas, we have 7 overs left in this first innings, and Lekha Shetty, who went for just 5 in her first over, is back. Kept it well away from the arc of Jessica in her first over. This time, get closer to stumps, and they'll find a single. And the East has looked really composed, and that's been really impressive. It shows just how much more cricket a lot of these players are playing now, locally with different teams, and the women's circuits that's developed. You can see that one just angling in on Sasha a little bit. But very impressive to see the strides each one of these individuals have taken as well. There's a lot of young talent. And spread out, Lekha Shetty from Virginia. As we see a talent from Florida in Sasha Vahalmbeni. Getting one into the covers and starting to get a little bit aerial now. And again, wondering when we're going to see a flip point for any of these two. If there is that flip point for them where they are going to start playing a little bit bigger shots. We've seen more dab downs and more run downs. But that previous shot, as this one's a wide from Sasha, shots like that where we see that play those expansive drives and look to take on the bowlers. Sasha just pointing out a gap in covers, or that maybe that there's no field around the deep on the offside. Taken into the leg side. No fielder inside the ring in mid-wicket. They'll find one. Again, tight bowling. And even in a competition like this where it's girls from different regions, a lot of these girls would have played with each other. A lot of these women played with each other through, again, all the competition that they get to play now, traveling around the country. As this one's driven into the onside, going to get through short mid-wicket. For one, again, we're seeing the ball struck a lot harder now. We're seeing these two really find rhythm. Mentioned in the previous over, 4 wickets in the power play for the Southeast Central. And so from where they were to where they have gotten to now with 69 for 4 with 1 ball to go. Impressive. Making some room is Jessica. It's going to come off the inner half of the bat for 1 in a vacant fine leg region. But it'll close out another good over for the Southeast Central. 14 overs gone. It's 70 for 4. Where we saw Lekha Shetty be the first pacer from the Balkis field end of the ground. Well, now we'll get Aditi Chudasama, the first spinner from the commentator box end of the ground, the pavilion end. So we see the left-handed on strike. And Aditi has bowled really well to the left-hander. Just giving up 9 runs in her 2 overs, and the extras in which she's bowled has been trying to keep the ball away from the right-handed batters, but when bowling to Jessica Wulanthangamiwa, has not seemed to struggle with her lines or her lengths. This one pushed into the offside and just pushes that fielder a backward point. Again, we'll see if Aditi's able to slow things down after we've seen the Southeast Central finally start to get comfortable and get a flow, it feels. This one rushed on and maybe coming off a bit of the bat. We'll see what the umpire signaled. It looks like it has come off just a bit of the bat there from Sasha. Just that under edge and a touch lucky. Aditi Chudasama, on the other hand, would feel that she's just gone a touch unlucky. She's bowled well. It feels like she does deserve a wicket. She's kept things tight, hasn't allowed boundaries to flow, gotten through overs quickly. This one's cut straight to point. Primarily a bat is Aditi Chudasama, but she's already shown her ability to bowl well, not just in this tournament, but think about in Fair Break that was hosted in Hong Kong in this edition. Took a wicket playing for the Sapphires, was pumped up about it as well. She's got the delivery turning both ways. You saw that previous one coming back into the left-hander. And how about this for Aditi Chudasama? She's going to feel good about that. It's a good way to close out the 15th over. Can take another look at this. Just coming back in, it was aerial and the simplest of catches. There at short third. Made it look effortless. And just as the partnership was building, Aditi Chudasama, we already mentioned, probably deserved a wicket earlier than this. She picks up her first and her third over. It's 73 for 5. And as we rejoin here for the last 5 overs for the Southeast Central, Afia Kazi comes to the crease for the first time today. Another one from the North Carolina region. And she has some aggressive tendencies as well, able to hit the long ball. I've seen it firsthand in North Carolina. And so we'll see what she's able to do here in the last 5 overs alongside Jessica, who's 26 from 34, who had just developed a partnership with Sasha Valambeni. But that broken by Aditi Chudasama. Gets her first wicket in her third over and just gave up 3 runs. And we'll see a new bowler here for the East. It'll be Bhakti Shastri in with ball in hand. Again, for a team that's kept things really tight with both pace and with spin. They feel plenty happy about in the position they've got, the Southeast Central. The Southeast Central also be saying things could be a lot worse. Remember, 4 wickets in that power play. To have just lost the next one at the end of the 15th over. You feel plenty good about that and about what you can bring now. Down the leg side there, and not a wide, but it's come off of the pads of Jessica Wilantagamua. Never mind, it has been given a wide. Late signal for the wide there. This time on stumps and is driven. Will find the inner half of the bat, but to find a run nonetheless to bring Afiakazi on to strike. You'll see how the field adjusts if it does. Deep cover. Sits tight and will stay out there for the new batter. Again, I think Melanie Henry will be happy with singles. Just doesn't want to give up any boundaries, and that's why deep mid-wicket has also found her way back to the fence. Third man very, very fine, and I think it's because of the way Bhakti angles it back in to the right-hander, but if Afiakazi was able to, could find the gap between third man and point. We'll leave it alone to start. It's a wide, and any free runs will be taken here by the Southeast Central. Again, haven't seen many of those from the East. Been real control in all their plans. This one angles in, hits straight back down the ground. That's as straight as you like. And fielders give chase, and I'm not sure the chase is going to get there. It won't. It'll be 4 runs, and a great way for Afia to get off the mark with the 4 straight back down the ground. Not quite an on drive, but a straight drive. That's terrific. One of the hardest shots in the book, and remember Justin Langer talking about getting off the mark with a straight drive. Everything's got to be perfect. One of the hardest shots to play. With the balance, with the timing. Afiakazi straight away gets that one, and there'll be a mix-up, and it'll be the end of Jessica Wilantagamua. It was just a tuck into mid-wicket, but the mid-wicket fielder did really well. Jessica was off in a hurry, and there was just to the point of no return. You can see Afiakazi just making that walk back and maybe just explaining what has happened there. But again, if you take another look at this, it was hit just to the left of that fielder and really no opportunity for a single there. The correct call from Kazi, and Wilantagamua pays the price. Had a good stay in the middle with 27 runs, and you could see it there, just understanding that there really was no run. As you can see the long trek and chat back over. The East will take another wicket. And for Afiakazi, you're going to have, kind of two minds here. You've played 2 shots that were timed pretty well. I thought the flick to mid-wicket was timed in a good manner, and that kind of straight drive down for 4. But 2 kind of opposite results. One led for 4, and then one led to a wicket. An unfortunate way to bring up a wicket. Another run out for the Southeast. And it brings out Bhumika Badaraju at the other end. Still Afiakazi on strike. And another wide from Bhakti Shastri. Again, an expensive over because of all the extras. They're going to want to tighten things down, but when you've seen the way Afia struck it Just creates a sense of confusion where to bowl in the air. It'll be short of any fielder. And we'll find a run, and it'll bring about Bhumika Bhadaraju, and we have a North Carolina duo in the middle with Bhumika and Afia both being from the North Carolina area, and Bhadaraju, 17 years of age, a recent graduate. Represented both the U19 and the national team for the USA. And it's primarily used as a bowler. To see a shout for LBW, probably going down the leg side. And talking about Bhumika again, more of a bowler, bowling all-rounders, what she'll be listed at. But known for her off breaks and has a 4-wicket haul in the international format. And at just 17 years of age, I was talking to umpire Avi Mohambir saying that Bhumika is now one of the leaders, one of the vets that the youngsters will turn to, and just at 17, very impressive strat, driven just to the right of short cover. Quick throw comes in, chance of run out, but Bhumika quick enough in the end. So an eventful over comes to a close at the end of 16. It's 83 for 6. And we mentioned in the last over, as we welcome you back to Musa Stadium, how Bhumika Bhadaraju would be looked at as one of people to learn from, one of the veterans or someone who has that international experience. Well, she'd be looked up to by the likes of Isabel Slade-Jones, who will come into bowl. Remember, open the bowling, just went for 8 runs, 13 years of age, and has showed why she's already made an immediate impact. Starts well, has Izzy Slade-Jones, again, has been really consistent on the stumps, and it's the reason she's been so economical. Hasn't given the batters much to work with on either side of the stumps. Again, we've seen the bails come on and off, and again, it's because of the wind that's blowing here, and again, it's blowing right back off. You can see the umpire having her hands up in the air saying, "What do you want me to do about this?" And again, the wind just playing an impact on today's game, and some water being tossed into Izzy Slade-Jones, and tossed in by Brooke Shears, but tossed immediately back. It's just looking to bowl here. This time just straying down. No, it's called a dead ball because the bails have fallen off again. This is becoming an issue now. Again, not sure what else can be done, but it has been called and ruled a dead ball. That straight away was looking for the arms to go up, but the arms came back down. A little bit of a pump fake, starting with the hands up high from Ivy Mohambir. And again, the great pictures you're being shown and seen, brought to you by our broadcast partner, Smart Choice. Has beautifully set up all the cameras, all the angles, getting all the replays, and incredibly talented, incredibly hard-working individuals that have made this production possible and been able to televise the quality cricket we have here in Pearland, Texas. Is really a dream come true. And for all the families that couldn't come down and support their sisters or their daughters or their mothers, their aunts, support their family here in Pearland, they can see it wherever they are watching from. I'm sure that's super exciting. And what's super exciting is for Izzy Slade-Jones. She's got her first wicket of this national championship, getting through Bhumika Badaraju. We've talked about her ability to stay on the stumps, and this time gets through the bat. You can see it here, just gets through the gap between bat and pad. Izzy Slade-Jones, she might just be 13, but is impressing. Take a look at this. Just gets through the gap between bat and pad and brings the end of Bhumika Badaraju's innings, and another wicket falls for the Southeast Central. Again, one to cherish. Take a look at it from this angle. The bails have been falling off because of the wind. And you can see the trees. This time, Izzy Slade-Jones says, nope, I'll take off the stumps this time. I'll take out the bails. Again, really impressive to see what the youngster has been able to do. Playing up in the Mid-Atlantic area. Has a brother who plays cricket, a spinner. So runs in the family, and she's already shown how quickly she can progress and how good she can be. And we'll see someone who plays in the Atlanta area now. It's Adnia Ba. Who's come into bat alongside Afia Kazi. And again, we mentioned how in last year's national scores would hover around the 90-100 range. On pace for that, but is going to want to keep the wickets down as they'll scamper a quick single off. I think Afia Kazi has also seen a lot from the non-strikers end in the previous couple deliveries and just wants to put her stamp on this innings. Again, right on stumps. There's really no way to operate for Kazi without any risk, and that's the beauty of the way Izzy Slade-Jones is bowled. Again, isn't going to blow by the batter with pace, but it's just the consistency. When you think about USA cricket, you think about the leading wicket taker in all of USA cricket. Sarmnet Tharwalkar doesn't blow by you with pace, bowls by you with his consistency and his ability to stay on stumps very economical. And Izzy Slade-Jones has shown an ability to stay consistent, stay patient, doesn't get bored with dot balls and has been rewarded with her first wicket. This one on stumps and just pushed down for one. A really good over for the youngster and the East. Just 2 runs coming from it. 17 overs gone. It's 85 for 7. A change in bowling here at Musa Stadium as we enter the final 3 overs. It's Disha Dhingra with ball in hand from Edison, New Jersey. Another one of these bright youngsters who has played in that inaugural ICC Under-19 Women's T20 World Cup. Starts with a long hop. Was it taken, too? How about this? It wasn't a good delivery, but has Melanie Henry made something of it? I'm going to want to take a second look at that one because I think that caught everyone off guard, including the likes of Afia Kazi. Again, how low to the ground was Melanie Henry to take this one? What a sensational catch this was. Again, if you just take another look, it's gone straight down, and it just carries to short cover to Melanie Henry. Going to be disappointed is Afia Kazi, but how about this? Everything Melanie Henry's touching is turning to gold, whether she's bowling, whether she's in the field. And the 8th wicket falls for the Southeast Central. And Disha Dhingra on her very first delivery picks up her very first wicket. Okay, just take a second look at this from this wide angle here. Again, you can see almost the surprisers. You could see Disha Dhingra raise her finger up straight away. But that delivery has pitched almost a fourth of the way down the wicket. Nearly has pitched again and is just hit before making contact with the wicket again. And just carrying out to Melanie Henry. So the East, they're having their way right now on the field. And if they could hold the South under 100, they'd feel very good about their opportunity to chase it down with the batting prowess they have. And speaking of batting, it's Sainenvi Gumbapalli coming with bat in hand. A much better ball that from Disha Dhingra. It will go for wide, but she'll be happy with that length. See a lot of the bowlers for the East angling the ball into the right-hander. So just going to push that line outside the off stump. Try to do what Izzy Slade-Jones did and hit that gap between bat and pad. Good delivery that. Well driven by Sayanvi. And we talked about how that was Sayanvi's just second ball faced. It's now Anya Boss first delivery face. So that wicket off Afia Kazi not only brings out a new bat, but strands one out there. Well down the leg side. It'll beat the wicket keeper and just hold up at the boundary line. They're going to push for 2, and they are going to get it. Again, unable to collect that one is Aparna Gurumurthy. Can just bounce at an awkward height. 4 and just kept past the gloves. But free runs here for the Southeast Central, and they'll take it being 8 down. This one, again, that gap between bat and pad is going to be the key to exploit. Really just stuck on the crease was Adni Abba. This one again short and just hit back to Disha Dhingra. And speaking about Disha just a little bit ago, has played on the USA Under-19 and the national team. So again, another one of these youngsters who's just 16, but plenty of experience. As this one is struck through the covers, well timed. And they'll find the single to close out the 18th over. So 5 runs coming from it, but the big wicket of Afiakazi. At the end of 18, it's 90 for 8. Well, it looks like we have 2 New Jerseyans working from both ends of the wicket. One from Edison, and now Aditi Judasma from Galloway. She'll be back in with the ball, and she's been good. 3 overs, 12 runs. Picked up her first wicket in her last over. Adneba on screen, and you can see the other game going on between the South and the Southwest at Balky's Field. As this one's just pushed away from short third inside the ring, and we'll find one. And valuable runs here for the Southeast Central. Again, if they can somehow claw their way up to 100 with these last 11 deliveries, a single ball will do that for them. They'll feel like they've got given themselves a target to chase. Plenty of bats for the East. But still plenty of good bowlers, as we see one defended away. And we speak of the bowling for the Southeast Central. Think about the Kitika Kodalis and Bhumika Bhatirajus of the world. The captain Ritu Singh as well. So plenty of bowling. But right now, focusing on the East bowling, Aditi Judasma has been really good. Big swing, but just finding Aditi again. Isn't trying to do too much, as Aditi has one that will go the other way, but really just keeps it on a similar length. This one a little bit quicker through the air. Gets through the infield. We'll find one through extra cover. And gets through overs quickly and doesn't really let the batters get set. You can let them get adjusted to what she's bowling. Again, flighted up. This time, just going to find the fielder inside the ring. Trying to sneak one on overthrows. Not going to happen. Good backup there from the East, and that'll close out the 19th over. Just 2 runs coming from it. It's 92 for 8. Well, as we approach the final over here of the first innings at Musa Stadium, we'll see Izzy Slade-Jones continue. Again, has been really, really impressive. She'll be bowling in to Sayan Vikamabali. Angling in and worked into the leg side. Throw comes in quickly, but quick enough through the wickets. Again, was always going to be tight. Direct hit might have been interesting. But Izzy Slade-Jones has shown a real ability to control her deliveries, whether they're angling in or away, and keep it on those stumps. Another good one, a no run on offer. We spoke about in the previous over how if you are the Southeast Central, you'd want to get as close to 100 as you could. But with the dots and just how well the East of bowling, the likes of Aditi Chudasma and Slade-Jones, runs hard to come by. This one down the leg side, it's wide. Just trying to get too full, got too straight. So they'll take the free runs. Again, it'll be interesting to see the tactics being used in the second innings. As we saw the East use spin early in the power play. Is that something we'll see from the Southeast Central, or will they go pace heavy? Full and straight, and it's cleaned up another. Izzy Slade-Jones having a day out at the moment. And I love the reaction from Izzy Slade-Jones. There is none. It's just another day in the office for her. Heads back to her run-up. No real big celebration. A hug to her captain, a high five to a teammate. But it's just ready for the new batter to come out because it's just regulation at this point. Look at this one. Again, we talk about her consistency at the stumps. This one just angles back in and gets through. Once again, that bat and that pad exposing that gap. And Slade-Jones, you'd have to imagine, is already making an impression. Again, all these replay angles and excellent production brought to you by Smart Choice, our production partner. Again, just at the base of the wicket, executing it perfectly. Izzy Slade-Jones, second wicket, has only given up 12 runs with 3 balls left to go in her fourth over. So the last batter, Shravya Ganumuri, will face a wide. You can see just attempting to hit that Yorker, and she got it on that last ball, and it's the reason the previous ball to that wicket was a wide. She's looking for that in-swinging, toe-crushing Yorker to finish off the number 11. Again, it will be a wide, and they'll try to sneak a bye through. Quick throw came in, and Melanie Henry, again showing off the athleticism, was moving well to her right. Ball was coming to her left. Able to get down and pivot. Dive back to her left to keep the air from being another bye. Izzy Slade-Jones going to want to fix this line here. Has had a really good spell. A really good day. Want to finish strong. This time on a length. Just almost rolls. Given buys. Yes, it will be given as buys there from the umpire. Again, just staying really low. We've seen here at Musa Stadium, it's a wicket where you're not going to see a lot of bounce. It's more going to be deliveries that come onto the bat. That one, what has that missed? Has that missed everything? It's not going to get to the boundary rope, but they're looking to run 2, and they'll get that 2. Let's wait for the umpire signal here. It's giving us buys again. So too good for everybody. That was Izzy Slade-Jones. It looked like it. At first I thought it was going to clash onto the stumps, but it evades the stumps, and then it evades Aparna Gunamurthy behind the stumps. And the 100 now comes up for the Southeast Central, so they'll feel good about this. Last delivery here. Strays down the leg side and given wide. The extras in this over are going to kill all the momentum the East could take with them. And this could be something to launch off for if you're the Southeast Central. Taking momentum into the innings break. It's a key thing. As you see Melanie Henry having a word with their bowler. Full toss. Is this going to be a no ball? We'll wait for that decision, but it's worked into the leg side and worked through to the boundary rope. And how about this? 4 runs there for Shravya Kanamuri. Very, very impressive that to finish. Got one on the full, didn't miss out, and a good way to close it for the Southeast Central. We've talked all about how the East has bowled really, really well. Well, Southeast Central feel that they've closed out incredibly well. They'll finish their 20 overs with 105 runs on the board. Getting those 20 overs are big. Again, we mentioned how scores in last year's Nationals mirrored this, winning scores. And again, with the bowling that's possessed by the Southeast Central, they'll feel comfortable and confident with 105 on the board. Again, plenty of batting for the East. So we'll see what they can do. Again, that final over, a big over for the Southeast Central. And that'll mean the East, they'll need 106 in their 20 overs. Everyone having some drinks, trying to get out of that hot Pearland sun. We'll see you back here for the second innings, just a little bit of time, where the East, they'll need 106 in their 20 overs. Well, hello and welcome to Musa Cricket Stadium for the second innings of this 2023 USA Cricket Women's Nationals. This matchup between the East and the Southeast Central. The East will need 106 from their 20 overs to win. Ritu Singh, the captain, will open the bowling for the Southeast Central. Opening batters, Anika Wallerson, she's on strike. Disha Dhingra at the non-striker's end. And you could see straight away, starting on stumps is Ritu Singh, and also might have just stayed a little bit low. Again, we welcome you to Musa Stadium for this 2023 USA Cricket Women's Nationals. Ritu Singh opening the bowling for the South. Chance of a run out. Throw just a little bit haywire there as it was struck to covers. Anika Wallerson opening the batting. She'll get her first runs. Wallerson, of course, very experienced, 38 years of age, and playing in Guyana now for the USA. Has played international cricket for the USA. Disha Dhingra, 16 years of age. Was part of that under-19 team that went to the Women's T20 World Cup. As this one stays low again. Again, we saw from the East their decision to bowl pace and spin. Pace from the end that spin from the end that Ritu Singh was bowling, and pace from the opposite. Ritu Singh starting things off as we see a tuck into the leg side. And again, a get through for one. We saw some indecision running between the wickets for the Southeast Central, unable to really find themselves in the power play because they just lost wickets consistently, and that's going to be a key here. And maybe the experience that Anika Wallerson will bring will keep those runouts from happening. Hard to get an innings going when you're seeing wickets fall, not just because of what we've seen from the bowlers, but just running yourselves out. Ritu Singh, big smile on her face. Almost a staple for her to bowl with her hat on. This one is pushed down the ground. No run on offer. So a good first over this. Maybe running overthrows. Anika not interested. So that'll close out. A good first over for Ritu Singh and the Southwest Central. It's 2 without loss. Welcome you back here to Musa Stadium, where Geetika Kodali will continue the trend of pacers bowling from the pavilion end. Ritu Singh listed as an off spinner, bowling from the Balkis Field end of the ground. You can see Balkis Field off in the distance, the orange shirts, where we see the matchup between the South and the Southwest. Good start here for Geetika Kodali, and I think there's something to say about taking a page from the East playbook. We saw them stay onto stumps, and it's something that you have to imagine coach for the East, Chintan Nayak, was harping, and Something different here for Kodali, though, hitting a length and staying a little bit wider away from Disha Dhingra. No surprise with the way Kodali's bowling. You can see a deep third man already in place. This one found an outside edge, but it's over the top of the wicketkeeper. Just over the head of Mithali Patwardhan. Behind the stumps, very nearly that first wicket. It'll be a run down to third man. This one slapped away, but just going to find the fielder inside the ring. Again, the battle of the 14s here, a little mini game, but Nika Wallerson, again, we've talked about 7 international innings for the USA women's side, trying to make it back there. And again, very different plans here from Kodali and pretty similar results. She's been away from the stumps. Again, some of these deliveries, this isn't a wicket that's up and down. Balls stay consistently lower. See that one, another good delivery coming through to Mithali Patwardhan. A good one run over that for Kodali. 2 overs gone. It's 3 without loss. The captain and vice captain starting things off. Ritu Singh back with ball in hand, bowling to Disha Dhingra. Remember talking about Disha Dhingra. She's played for both the national side and the under-19 side. So for the East, you have 2 openers who are playing for the national side. So it's good to have that kind of experience. Also for Ritu Singh, for Disha Dhingra. If you notice the helmet, the New Jersey Stallions, a team in minor league cricket, and she gets an opportunity to work with their program. This one's just touched into the leg side. Again, you can just see the Stallions on that red helmet and getting an opportunity to work with a lot of the coaches and the program and the players there. Be a good opportunity that she would cherish, and we saw just the one over from her with the ball in hand, but the 16-year-old known for her exploits with the bat. Just taking a little bit of time to get things going here. Again, not a huge total on the board, just 106 needed. Seem to be putting a prize on their wickets, these 2. This one, low full toss, and they're going to come away with a couple of runs. Umpire already signaling byes. So getting through Mithali Patwardhan on that one. Captain Ritu Singh, hailing from Missouri, has started things off well. Just a couple of runs on offer as that one's tucked into the leg side. That'll close out the 3rd over. It's 6 without loss. Heading back here at Musa Stadium. Left alone, and getting correction on the wicket keeper. It's Bujagadish keeping wicket here for the Southeast Central. The youngster, again, very, very impressive. Hailing out of St. Louis. Little tease there from umpire Ivy Mohambir, and I think she's having a little bit of a laugh about that. Hands half risen. You see the smile on her face there. Nearly wide. This time angling in. Big shout. Probably a bit too high. Maybe going down the leg side as well. There you go, Godali. You see the ploy here, keeping a couple wider and then angling one back in. We saw the one in the previous over fly over the head of Pooja Ganesh. Goes back to the wide, and this time too wide will result in an extra that. Again, really interesting. This time, angling inside. It's really good stuff from Kodali, and we've seen her exploits all over the world at this point. Took a hat trick in the women's 60 for the Trinbago Knight Riders women's, and then in fair break for the Sapphires women's. Very impressive, taking wickets for them. He's played for the national team also. Has 4 international wickets in her 12 innings and an economy under 6. So a bright young talent, just 19 years of age. And she's starting off these national championships very, very well with the ball in hand. Just the one wide resulting in a run in this over. That's 4 overs gone. It's 7 without loss. Back here in sunny and hot. Don't forget about humid. Pearland, Texas, as the degrees over 100 and the humidity well over the 90 percentile. And these incredible pictures brought to you by a broadcast partner, Smart Choice. And the new bowler here will be Bhumika Badiraju. So we thought they'd bring off spin early. They brought it with Ritu Singh, and now it's Badiraju. Starts with one well away from stumps. It's been a while since we've seen Onika Wallerson play a delivery. Disha Dhingra has been playing most of them, and we enjoy having you guys here, seeing me in the comm box. And again, all these incredible pictures, a lot of different camera angles from different areas, and again, truly incredible. Now look at this. The production just upped the level. Box in the lower corner. This one takes a bounce, and it is going to just have bounce the next time past that crease. So it's a fair delivery, but again, up in the levels here, and we love to see it, not just with the teams, 4 teams this year, but look at the production. Just incredible stuff here that we're getting to see at Musa Stadium. This one's pushed away for 1, and again, I think Boomy is going to want to be a little bit fuller than where she's been. Not a bounce on offer on the wicket again. consistently lower bounce on this wicket. One that dares you to play straight. We see a gully in place now for Bhumi with Dishadingra on strike. And there you go, much fuller, and that's the length I think she's going to want to operate at, adjusting well. And that's going to be a big part for a lot of these girls and women playing, is that you're given maybe 2 to 4 matches. How quickly can you adjust to conditions? This one tucked into the leg side. That's that one mid-wicket fielder. Not just the heat, but the wickets, the grounds, the way the grass plays, the outfield. Eight wickets in 7 innings for Bhumika in international cricket, including a forfeit. She gave up just 9 runs. This one flighted up aerial. It's through third man. It's going to be at least 1, and it will be just held to 1. Again, very attacking field set here, and the East still keep all their wickets in hand. 5 overs gone. It's 10 without loss. So the batter's getting some drinks, maybe a word in. Again, some acceleration may be needed. The required run rate now above 6. Just a reminder, they're chasing 106. And there is something on a line. Yes, this is a tournament that'll lead to selection as we see a new bowler. Jessica Willantagamu up. Left-handed seamer who already showed her prowess with the bat, but is something to play for these teams when we talk about the finals and that third place matchup. You know, both these teams will want to be in the final, playing at Musa Stadium. A lot of players from the East and the South would have won it last year as a member of the same team. And this is a good ball here from Jessica, coming around the wicket. Ordinarily see her come over the wicket, or a lot of left-handers like to come over the wicket and create that angle. But I think she's seeing not a lot of movement off the surface, wants to use her angle back into the right-hander. This one in the air, nearly a one-handed catch. Trying to pull it into the leg side. Anika looks into the heavens because she knows she's given a chance here. But she has been put down. Can take a look at this. It's on a length. Try to just heave it into the leg side. Just beats the outstretched hand of Jessica there. This time, an outside edge is going to beat Pooja Ganesh behind the stumps, and they'll find 1 out to third man. Now we'll bring out Dishadingra onto strike. So again, very consistent line here for Jessica. She's just angling things in, using that natural angle she has, attacking the stumps. And it's almost a you miss, I hit situation. So any cross-batted shot would open up those stumps and could have Jessica celebrating. This one a little bit fuller, but again, a packed covers region. No fielders on the deep apart from third man, and he brings a close to the power play, and it's a good power play for the Southeast Central. It's 11 without loss. Using her feet is Onika Wallerson to attack Bhumika Badaraju, but no runs on offer. Again, we mentioned that it's not going to be easy to chase down a total. With the bowling prowess and attack that the Southeast Central has. See Gitika Kodali just having a word with Bhumika. This ball is just getting passed around, and again, going to need to up the ante now is the East. No change in the field here. Godali goes out into the deep. Headlong on. Again, we've seen Onika on a couple occasions look to go leg side, look to go big to the leg side, and so maybe trying to pack that region with a deep mid-wicket and a long on. This one just fended away. It's good bowling for Bhumika because she's found the length she's wanted to bowl. One thing about the way she bowls, once she finds her length, she's very good at keeping it there. Again, you can see the breeze blowing through all the jerseys and the hair, even the camera shake as a result to just how powerful the gusts of winds are here in Pearland, Texas. This one just pushed into the offside. They'll find that single. Throw came in. And you like to see the effort these women are putting out there in the field. That time throw comes in as one's tumbling down and just trying to get it in as quickly as you can to the wicketkeeper. Try to influence the game with the run out. Another one flied it up and pushed to the offside. No run on offer. And again, a quick fiery throw coming in from the inner ring. With just 2 balls left here, the East has only scored a run in this over. And their run rate right now is just under 2. Going to need to find ways to score some runs. And again, you can credit how good the bowling has been from the Southeast Central. But at some point, something's going to have to give here for the East. This one worked into the leg side. Will be just 1. Another good over for the Southeast Central. At the end of 7, it's 13 without loss. Well, as we welcome you into this 8th over, it's Jessica William-Tagamio with the ball in hand, but we have a new man with the mic in hand joining me in the commentary booth, and you can see the lower left of your screen. The legend himself is John Aaron, manager of the U.S. Women's Under-19 and Senior Girls team. John, thank you so much for joining us and escaping some of the the heat outside.
Man, you don't know how much I appreciate you calling me indoors. Well, hardly a legend in my own mind. It's legendary hot out there, I can tell you. And so this is a good respite for me to get indoors and spend some quality time with you, my friend. And to watch some cricket from here. It is very hot out there. And despite the fact we've been getting a bit of a crosswind, in fact, that was indicative when two of the bails fell off during the last inning. And they were looking for a pair of weightier bails. But the groundsman said no, he's got the right bails. You just got to make sure the stumps are a little more firmly in the ground. And that seemed to have done it so far. But it's although it's windy, it's very, very humid. That I can tell. I don't know what the temperature is, but it's hot and humid.
Well, hot and humid indeed. It's been above 100 since about 11 o'clock there. So the sun hadn't even reached its full apex. And, I heard a great story from Bert Cockley. He's talking about driving over down here. And as soon as he got into his car at 5:30 in the morning, his phone said there's a heat index alert. He said, the sun's not even out. How can there be a heat index alert?
Predictable, eh? Look, last week I was in Dallas for the Major League thing, and then the week before I was in Louisiana. So I've been averaging about 100, 101 between those three locations in the last 3 weeks.
Well, it's been hot, but it's been impressive to see the cricket we've seen on display, especially when we talk about how Jessica has started her campaign with the ball in hand, has just given up one run in her first 11 deliveries. John, you've been out there. You've seen all these girls interacting, the vibes around the teams right now. We have just one ball left in the over, so I think I'll save the question. Mm-hmm. But as we see one pushed into the offside, that'll be a couple of runs, and it might be the first boundary. It will be the first boundary. Dishadingra strong through the covers. She gets one through that area, and they'll find 4 to close out this 8th over. And finally, some runs, you'll say, for the Eastern Conference.
Oh, yes, I appreciate that. My girls' teams, their run rate has been down. My heart rate has been up. And between the tricks and between the two things, I don't know whether I should go lie down in a refrigerator or just spend some time in here with you. But there's no doubt that the East team needs to up the ante here with 107. It looked like not an insurmountable target, but clearly with heat factor out there, it will be a bit difficult, I must admit.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these girls, some are brand new to this kind of situation setup, and others have been really experienced. You have, a lot of national team players, and then some who've been under 19, and then others who, like an Izzy Slade-Jones, who is brand new to the situation. What's been impressive, and what's kind of been the biggest thing to you in working with these individuals?
Well, I've had the pleasure of managing many of the girls who are playing across all the teams, the 4 teams, and I've been very impressed with them and their growth, the way how they've grown into the game and grown in as individuals over the last 3 to 4 years. I'm impressed with the energy level. Despite the heat and the heat index and everything, the energy level of these girls has been phenomenal. And as I said that, over to you.
Well, we have our first wicket here. Annika Wallerson looking to take something into the leg side. And the new bowler making an impact straight away, Shravya Ganamuri. Remember, she hit that 4 off her hip to end the first innings. Well, she gets one on her very first delivery. Breaks that opening partnership. A big one to break. That wicket finally coming through. Again, just take a look on the replay. Again, ball just staying low. Anika, we've seen her try to play that shot on a couple of occasions. The ball has consistently stayed lower here at Moosa Stadium. And once again, staying low and once again taking off the bails. And, John, we're going to get a replay of you talking about So, the voice is so good that we got to see it happen,
Commentators curse, right? To bring me on and we lose a wicket. Thanks, man. But, no, certainly when Anika is on the go, and that's a shot she plays frequently, but when she connects, she's got the muscle behind it. No doubt about it. This time, ball just kept low, and she pretty much played over it, Yeah,
again, very talented player, as you mentioned, and again, plenty of power. We've seen it on display, whether it's with the U.S. women or in this competition, or whether it's back in Guyana where she used to play. But now we'll see someone who also has some power and some timing. Aditi Chudasama, who was the best batter in the 2022 Women's Nationals. She has come out to bat at the one-down spot. What can you tell me about Aditi?
Oh, phenomenal player, both with bat and ball. I want to say almost a complete all-rounder. I've seen her in the UAE, I've seen her in Zimbabwe, I've seen her in South Africa, and she's a student of the game, but she approaches the game with very smartness, a very sharp smartness, and she reads the game very well. And I hope I don't curse her. I don't put a curse in her or jinx, but she is a very talented player, and I think the East will depend upon her at this particular point in time when we're just 17 for 1 in the 9th over being bowled.
Again, look how low that one's kept. Just straight bad, and it's beat Aditi, and it's also beat Puja Ganesh behind the stumps. And so something to watch for playing here at Musa Stadium. But you mentioned it. You feel like a batter that the East is going to have to rely on. We've seen her incredible shots over cover. That was one that not surprised, but rather was the most impressive thing I saw in 2022 off the batter Chudasama. This one cut powerfully from Disha Dhingra. Enough of a hand on it in the inner ring to keep it from going for 4, but it'll pick up a couple of runs.
This is a very smart pair at the wicket right now. They've done a great job for the USA national women's teams, and no doubt that they're looking to consolidate here and build a partnership, having lost to Nika Wallison a couple of deliveries ago.
Trying to go over cover, unable to really get anything on it, but they'll make that quick run. And this is something that I think that was missing with the opening pair just early on, was that running between the wickets. We saw a lot of times they get stuck on the dot balls, and it's something that missed for the Southeast Central earlier on. And we saw, when Jessica got into the middle alongside Sasha, they opened up the singles.
Well, some of these girls are playing together for the very first time, so the rhythm is not quite there. With the pair at the wicket right now, they have batted together on more than several occasions in the past. So they've got an understanding and a rhythm and a vibe to go with it. But the heat factor over there, it will have an impact on the player's ability to keep running.
Yeah, keep running indeed. They sneak off another run. This one off a bye. Again, another one getting through. Maybe just a touch low, maybe just playing around it, but something to watch for here in this wicket as we close the 9th over, 23 for 1, John.
I've had a chance to look at the wicket out there just between innings, and it's it's almost like glass-like. And I don't know what will tell. They did roll the wicket between innings, and I don't know if that will help the East. But certainly the East needs to up the tempo here a bit. But not to take away anything from the Southeast. Their bowlers have been very consistent. And they've got the bowling. It looks as though they have a bowling change coming up. But they definitely have the bowlers that can contain the East. But hopefully our girls can get out of this rut. Particularly so with the pair that's at the wicket at the moment.
Yeah, as you mentioned, these two, you can think about some of the more experienced players and two of the ones that can take a load off of that middle order and the lower order. And we've seen new bowler, as you mentioned, Sayanvi Kambalapalli. So spin from both ends and a leggy from this end. A half-hearted appeal has definitely, I think, come off the bump.
Yes.
Or, hold on. Was it not off the bump? Ivy Mahambir is giving it out.
Did she?
The finger has gone up here,
I
John.
didn't see that. Oh, my goodness.
Let's take another look at this, because on the initial reaction, I thought it come off the bump. It's close there, John. It's very close. It's a good reaction.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a confident appeal, but, she would have been calling for DRS if she had.
She actually was talking to me this morning, because I wish we had her viewed. I could she said, all I want to do is signal for DRS.
Exactly. Open that box.
Well, here you go. Just as we were talking about the partnership between Aditi Chudasama and Disha Dhingra being a bid one.
Yep.
Aditi Chudasama has to go.
Yep.
It's an unfortunate end, and again,
unfortunately, because it would have been such fun to watch these two get going and build a partnership of 25, 30 runs before any disaster would have struck them. But that was not meant to be, I guess.
Well, it brings last over brought on a new bowler. First ball takes a wicket. New bowler, first ball, wicket. So seems to be working a charm here for the Southeast Central. And it'll bring out Lika Shetty into the middle. So we've seen, 3 experienced campaigners. Lika here, one of the newer faces amongst the setup and plays in the Northern Virginia area. John, how much have you worked with her?
I have not worked with her, and I don't know much about her, but in the dressing room we were talking and stuff, and the rest of the players seem to have got a lot of confidence in her, having seen her play. So I'm looking to see what she brings to the table here right now.
Yeah, again, some big shoes to fill. Again, we talked about Aditya Dasma as the best batter in the 2022 National Championships, and so now I rely on another one. And Disha Dhingra has played 32 deliveries, hasn't quite got herself going, so she knows, and I think she knows she's going to have to up the ante, as you mentioned, John, and again, the required run rate pushing up to 8, whilst the run rate staying below 3. So with that wicket, again, need to consolidate, but have to find ways to at least get singles.
I was so hoping that the East would have kept the Southeast under 3 digits, under 100, because psychologically, that's an advantage for the team coming in and a disadvantage for the team going out. But in that last over that we saw there, we definitely could have stayed under 100. We gave away a lot of wides, and I think one boundary, and that really pushed them over the 100 mark.
Yeah, and I mentioned it when we went into the break. It's, as you mentioned, had the East kept it under 100, you could have walked into the next inning with some momentum, and it felt like the Southeast Central had taken all that momentum that the East really had deserved throughout that inning. So really good bowling innings from the East. Just didn't end the way or in favor of the East. Mm-hmm. This one powerfully struck through the leg side, waited on it. A lot of flight being offered by Sayanvi Kumbulapalli. So just hanging on the back foot and waiting for the bounce. And good to see leg spinners in the competition. A lot of offies involved, and when you see the leg spinner, you kind of get excited. Little goosebumps go around. Yeah. The hairs stick up because you're just, what do we have here? And as we see leg spinners develop, that's also an incredible thing. Seeing the googlies and different bowling
because you never know what you'll get from them, eh? Unlike a pace bowler, you'll get pace and bounce and stuff with a leggy, and you never know. The variation is much greater than a pace bowler.
Especially the way we see cricket being played now. You have the loopier pacers, and then you have the Rashid Khan type, leg spinners in the world where they'll slide it in quickly through the air. So it's just an interesting dichotomy of leg spinners and the more traditional ones, or the new age T20 ones.
Yep. And that's how the Windies, Sunil Narine, got the nickname, the mystery spinner.
Well, Sayanvi Kumbulapalli is proving to be a mystery in her own right. Only one run being given up, taking that first wicket. And Hashi got a second. Big appeal from Pooja Ganesh. I think Disha Dhingra might have just gone back, and that seems to be the decision from the leg umpire. Take a look at the replay here. Looking to use their feet to come down the track and spinning away. What's your take on it, John? I think it's close.
It's close, but I think she was safe. Pooja Ganesh, not to take anything away from her, that's a talent to keep an eye on. Yeah. Definitely a talent. She has to develop a bit more confidence in her batting, but the confidence behind the wicket is for her age and her stature is really unbelievable, and I can only see her building upon that going forward.
10 overs are gone. It's 24 for 2. So some real work needs to be done here by the East. Again, still 82 runs to get. And boundaries that were hard to come by in that first innings. Can't imagine it's going to get much easier with the low bounce that we've seen on the wicket already here, John.
I know, and that's why I'm going to leave you and go sit next to my coach and hold his hand. Hold his hand and make sure I have some aspirins and Advil and stuff nearby.
Another dot ball, though, for the East. And And John, enjoy the AC whenever you like, though. You can always come
I'll
back
come
in,
back.
right? You can always get back in. Enjoy the AC.
Let me go check my coach's heart rate, because definitely his heart rate must be up with the run rate being down.
And that won't help the run rate. Two up also start things off, but as you mentioned, the bowling has been good for this Southeast Central, and especially Shravya, who is new to the setup, but she's showing that she can still be very effective against some of the more experienced players. This one, aerial, and it does get just short of that fielder sitting at mid-off. And John, I want to ask you before you do leave us, to see the Nationals expand from 2 to 4 teams, how exciting is that to you, and what do you think that means for the future of USA women's cricket? Well,
it certainly gives more of the women an opportunity to get on this platform. And the more opportunities they have, the greater awareness they are of the pathway to representing the USA. And it's a twofold thing. One, it gives the players the confidence that, yes, they can participate at this level. And two, it creates a greater awareness in the wider diaspora of the cricketing community that women's cricket can be on par with the men's cricket. We're just a couple of, overs behind, so to speak. But this is a great opportunity and the expansion for the women's cricket, and you have to give it to USA Cricket and its sponsors for being able to provide this platform for the girls.
Another delivery staying low, but you mentioned it, John, to give this platform and for these women to get the opportunity, not just the ones playing here, but for all the women seeing it across the country, and who've competed in intra-regionals and different women's competitions. They're popping up more and more, and that's the brilliant thing to see, is that there is an opportunity, and it seems to be more of a pathway as we see the crosswind taking out more of the Bales.
No doubt. It's a very exciting time for cricket in the United States. I watched some of the youths in the stands at the Grand Prairie Stadium, and I watched them how they idolized the players out there when they were seeking autographs, and those players out there were the heroes. Women need some heroes for us to push the game. All those youngsters who were there, boys and girls, were looking to one day be giving autographs as well as those international players were doing on the sidelines. And that augurs well for the future of cricket, I believe, in the United States, because more kids will become aware, more interested, and we have to just keep providing the platform for them to perform.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, John, for joining me here. John Aaron, ladies and gentlemen, he'll be back. Don't worry about it. 11 overs gone. It's 25 for 2.
Thank you, man.
Well, the Southeast Central, they've not let up. And it's because their bowlers have been so economical. Sayanvi Kamalapalli, 1 over, 1 run, a wicket to her name. Again, unable to really pick and play any of these spinners so far for the East. Whether it's Disha Dhingra, whether it's Anika Wallerson or Aditi Chudasma. This one, though, a big strike, but it's found the fielder a deep backward square leg. Really smart field placement for the Southeast Central. Packed leg side field, and again, daring these two bats to attack the offside and cut and drive away. Tries to drive, gets a little aerial on it. We'll go all the way, it looks like, for 4. Yeah, Will. It just beats the two fielders giving chase. And again, I think you're going to see a lot more of this from the East, and Disha Dhingra just looking to attack on that delivery there. Saw it wide, saw it drivable. Didn't quite find the middle of the bat, but found enough to get it to run away for 4 and split that gap. And I think that's just the word Gita Kokodali has had with their bowler. Just get a little bit straighter. This time a full toss met on the full in the air. A little bit of a mix-up in the field. It's going to lead to 1. Maybe a possible catch there, but again, I think you're going to see a lot of attacking stuff here from Disha Dhingra. We already saw the big pull shot from Lekha Shetty. An interesting decision this from Sayanvi, coming around the wicket now to the right-hander. Pushes it out wider, and it's driven, and it's going to, really well done. Really good footwork at mid-off. We'll keep it to just 1. Again, I'm really curious as to why Sayanvi has elected to come around the wicket. Had found great success coming over. Yes, gave up the boundary, but well, here you go. 1 in the air and chance of a run out. Throw coming in. Direct hit would have done it. Direct hit would have done it. It's a good attempt there from the sub-fielder, Chantel Stewart. And maybe the best over for the East there. Again, take a look. It's just in the air for a moment. Disha Dhingra sending Lekha Shetty back. Direct hit would have had the run-out chance, but it wasn't meant to be. 12 overs gone. It's 32 for 2. It'll be 3 on the trot here for Shravya Kanumuri here at Musa Stadium. She's only gone for 6 runs in her 2 overs, and very, very effective. Has the wicket to her name. First ball, first wicket for her. This one gets through. How is that missed? You can see Pooja Ganesh hand on her head. Cannot believe that one's gone through, and I don't think Shravya can either. This one looks like it was full and straight, pitching around middle and leg, and just spun. It looked like a well a ways from there. It's a good ball there. It's been given byes. These will take runs as they come. They need a lot more of it. 73 to go. Going to be very reliant on Disha Dhingra. You can see that drive, and that one's beat the infield. That's glorious. The cover drive is a pretty shot here in cricket, and one of the shots that you're going to hear all about. Disha Dhingra, she'll find 4 runs. Can just take a look at this one. Just a little bit of width on offer. Waited for the bounce, waited for the turn. Beat short cover. Wants to beat that fielder out to the right. It's going to be 4 all the way. Disha Dhingra's played 41 deliveries. She's going to want to up the ante now. We've seen some aggressive strokes as of late. Again, try to go through cover, but found the fielder. A little bit of a misfield. It's going to be 1. And good alert running. It's also something that pressure can do. After that 4, it's, you feel like you have to stop that run, have to contain. You can just lead. Some uneasiness and some misfields out there, and the East will need plenty of those. Use of the feet. Came down, and again, very impressive here from Shravya Kanumuri. Saw the little bit of advancement, pulled the length back. So again, showing that she's always thinking. And again, Lekha Shetty unable to find bat on ball to close out the 13th over. So with just the 1 boundary and a couple of runs, a 6-run over, it's 38 for 2. We heard John Aaron say just a couple overs ago that the East need to up the ante. Well, this Shadingra, she found a couple of boundaries in her previous couple overs, but she's going to need a lot more than that. It's going to be a lot more than just one boundary and over. The required run rate just under 10. So if the East were to come back and win it, it'd be a miraculous victory. This one, brilliantly played, used the feet well, and has found that cover gap really nicely. It'll be another 4 through this Shadingra. She's strong through that area. She's shown why she's been picked in a lot of these teams, and again, just came down the track, met it right after the bounce, and there's no doubt once it came off the bat that that one was going to the rope for 4. Again, going to need plenty of those. This one down the leg side. She's worked it fine. Is it fine enough? Yes, it'll beat the fielder. It'll be a second boundary in the over. This Shadingra upping the ante as requested by John Aaron. Just straying down the leg side, trying to get a little too straight with Sayanvi there. She came back in as well. And it's not just about how firmly that was hit. It was about the timing on that delivery. And the placement. Placed it well around, well behind square. So 8 runs to start the over off. This one in the air. And it's going to be another gap. Again, well placed. And it just slows up. It just came to a halt right before the boundary rope. I don't think this Shadingra can believe it didn't go for 4. Probably deserved 4 with that shot. It was in the air, but split the gap between cow corner and mid-on. We saw the East get drinks before the over. No doubt what the message was. It was to get the runs flowing. That one just jumping up on Disha a little bit. Good way to come back if you're Sayanvi. I think a lot of this is Sayanvi just asking the question whether that would have been an LBW. Is definitely going down leg, and they'll come back for 2 off the legs. Now, there was some bat involved for the liking of Ivy Mahabir. Getting Sayanvi, she's bowled really well to start before this over, and hasn't bowled poorly in this over, just has been bowling to a batter who has found some rhythm, and because of that, cover is now out to join the 2 on the leg side. This one hit through covers, and it's away from that deep cover fielder. Couple of bounces over the rope. Probably the best shot we've seen all day long. It's 4 more for this Shadingra as she moves to 38. And at the end of the 14th over, again, because of this shot, take a look, giving a little bit of width. Sweetly timed, well away from that deep cover fielder. Never in danger of being a catch. 14 overs gone is 54 for 2. And after that over there, a big over for the East. It's caused the captain Ritu Singh to turn to herself. And she'll start off with the wicket. Gets through Lekha Shetty. Just trying to play a drive, and the off break of Ritu Singh gets through the bat and the pad and knocked over off in middle stump. And almost a sigh of relief from Ritu Singh rather than a big celebration. Take a look at this. Again, pitches it up, came back in and hits middle stump, and you could just see it wasn't a huge celebration, just all right, we've stopped the bleeding a little bit. We had to keep this up. The East, as soon as they got a little bit of momentum, they lose it there. And they would have liked to keep Legashetty in the middle. But again, just going through. Getting just all around side relief from the Southeast Central. As the third wicket falls there, and Ritu Singh, the captain, picks up her first, bowled brilliantly in her first 2 overs, gets rewarded with the wicket here, which will bring out Bhakti Sastry. She had 3 not outs in the inter-regionals, but it won't be about the not outs. It'll be about scoring and getting the runs flowing quickly for the right-handed 30-year-old here. And we'll be starting off to Ritu Singh, who we mentioned earlier, hailing from Missouri and someone who has been a part of the USA Under-19 team and the national team. Has 4 international wickets across her 7 innings, and someone is seen as a very talented young cricketer, and someone who grew up playing cricket around a lot of boys her age and older. As Bhakti Sastry gets off the mark and is now captaining the Southeast Central zone in USA Women's Nationals. I think she would tell you she's come a long way. But here we go. Things starting to get interesting. Disha Dhingra started to get explosive. How does she attack Ritu Singh? Big shout. Big shout. Not given. Probably just hitting outside the line. Probably just a little bit too high as well. This one, big swipe at it, but given a wide there from the umpire. So free runs, but again, you could see the intention clear from Disha Dhingra. They're going to play hard, aggressive strokes. Left it alone. It's another wide. You can see the idea from Ritu Singh is to keep the ball away from the arms of Disha Dhingra. Also, the wind blowing across your screen right to left doesn't help with the placing of that ball either. This time in and just pushed into the offside. Quick single taken. Quick single gotten. I'll bring Bhakti Sastry back on a strike. And I think this is the big thing here for the East, is making sure those singles come. You had some wide, so you can just take those singles, but it's about those boundaries, and that's why you can see Geetika Kodali just having a word with Captain Ritu Singh. Again, Geetika, the vice captain in today's match. Bringing 2 fielders inside the ring just a little bit closer and then sending cover 45. And this one just looked like it jumped up on Bhakti Sastry as she looked to cut it behind point. This one again a wide, struggling with the line is Ritu Singh. Started off strong, but these extras are going to hurt. We saw the extras hurt the East. Think about that last over. Could have really had the Southeast Central under 100. Oh, look at this. Some innovation. Tucked away for 1. But you got to love the intent from Bhakti Sastry straight away. Knowing that runs are needed. 15 overs are gone. It's 60 for 3. So from the pavilion in here at Musa Stadium, it's Jessica Wilith-Gamua. We'll have ball in hand. 15 overs gone. So from the last 5, 46 are needed. Disha Dhingra, she's 39 from 50. Has found some boundaries in the previous couple of overs. Bhakti Shastri has shown that she's willing to play some innovative strokes. But Jessica's been a tough customer. 2 overs, 5 runs. This one was trailed down the leg side, and they'll find a couple. Just one on offer on that occasion. And Jessica will want to be closer to that off stump. What you saw early on from her was that she would angle it into the off stump. Everything coming from around the wicket with the left-handed angle. And so it just becomes difficult to play. You're in two minds as a batter. With that ball coming in, does one jump back, and are you trying to heave it over the leg side? Full and straight, big shout, probably going down leg. But again, Jessica, very, very experienced. One of the only women cricketers that is contracted by an agency. Been contracted for about a year now. As this one's pushed into the covers from Disha Dhingra. A little bit of a misfield. They'll get one for it. Wilith-Gamua, she's a very smart cricketer. With both bat and ball. Doesn't try to overdo it. Understands her game at a really high level. And just looks to execute just like that. You can see on a length, daring the batters to go across the stumps, and it's a you miss, I hit situation. And Jessica will get her first wicket. She's bowled brilliantly. Gets onto the top of the stumps, and Bhakti Shastri has to go. Just 3 runs to her name, and the 4th wicket falls for the East. Take a look at this. Again, we just mentioned the consistency for Jessica. It's just that. On a length, crashing onto middle stump. It's angling into the right-hander, and that's the key. With that lengthy field that you can pull, and you can heave it into the leg side, but the worry, the concern there is that exactly that. If you open up your stumps and you miss out on it, it's going to crash, and you're going to have to go, and that was the unfortunate end for Bhakti Shastri. And that wicket's not just another new batter has to come in, but a valuable dot ball. And after that expensive over, a couple overs to go, you've seen the Southeast Central just hone things down, close things up. So the East will have to turn to somebody else to bat alongside the Dhingra, and it'll be Sustri Amula. Sustri Amula, hailing from Washington, D.C., and was reading an article that featured Amula talking about how she had started playing cricket in 2019, and she is far beyond just a cricketer. Even at her young age, she received the Presidential Environment Youth Award for Region 3 from the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. And it's an award that recognizes outstanding environmental stewardship projects that are developed by kindergarten to 12th graders. So she's someone who is just so young and has a vision and a passion, and it's been that way with cricket. And again, off the cricket field as well. One of the few high schoolers you'll find a LinkedIn page when you Google their name. I didn't have a LinkedIn page till I started college, and so to see that from a youngster, very impressive. And what's been very impressive is what Jessica Wilith-Gamua has been able to do. Has kept things very simple, has dared the batters do all the work. Again, until the batters have made her move off her spot, she's not going to move. So put some impetus on the batters. That time, though, just straying down the leg side. Again, valuable runs for the East. Talk about 43 runs needed from 4.1 deliveries. So you're talking about, 4.1 overs. So you're talking about over 10 runs and over at this point. As this one, not going to be WW, but they'll take the single. And the Southeast Central actually won't mind that because this Adingra will stay off strike. And the end of the 16th over, it's 64 for 4. Welcome you back here to Musa Cricket Stadium. And these wonderful pictures being brought to you by our broadcast partners, Smart Choice. And again, they've done a terrific job with all the camera setups and getting all the replays going, all the graphics. And again, such a treat to have all of this infrastructure and this coverage surrounding this 2023 USA Cricket Women's Nationals. And I'm sure all of the family of all the women playing today are appreciative of it as well, getting to see their family members compete and try to earn their place on the USA Women's National side. Shravya Kanamuri, she's back into the attack, and she's been impressive in 3 overs, giving up just 11 runs, a wicket to her name. She'll be bowling to Shruti Amul here, and got nowhere to go. It's been kind of that story for every batter that's been playing Shravya. We've seen a lot of returns. That one staying low, and again, not much you can do if you're Amul there. It's just stayed low on you. But can't afford these dot balls. Has to find ways to keep the runs flowing. Use of the feet, aerial. It won't get to anybody and actually get in the gap. It's really well played there. It's going to be 4 runs. Again, Amul will send out with a clear message that if we want to win, we got to get runs flowing. And saw 2 balls from her crease this time. Uses her feet. Places it really well. Timed it really well, and just a couple of bounces in a roll for 4. An important boundary this is for the East. Again, use the feet just away from Shravya. They'll pick up 1, but also bring this Adingra onto strike for the first time in a couple of overs here. She's 40 from 52. When we last saw her on strike, she was starting to really find rhythm and score at an accelerated rate. This one pushed through the covers. Will find 1 out into the deep. Again, singles won't hurt if you're the Southeast Central. Just over 11 runs and over required for the East to pull off what would be a miraculous victory. Again, use of the feed, and a quick throw comes in. Quick run is taken, and they get it in the end. And so that'll conclude the 17th over. 71 for 4. The equation is simple for the East. It's going to be an uphill climb, but it's 35 from 3 overs. They're going to need a lot of boundaries from the 2 in the middle. They'll be playing a new bowler, Adni Abao. And Willis found bat on ball early, but like most of the batters today, struggling to find gaps and tough to score quickly, it feels, here at Musa Cricket Stadium. And for Adni Abao, it's going to be about putting together 6 good deliveries. They've sent back mid-off, back to the rope. Curious decision with the length that Adni is bowling. Strays down the leg side. Is there enough bat on it to get away for 4? Fielder's going to come around to stop in. They'll pick up 2. Viable runs, but again, going to feel like you missed out on an opportunity to get 4. And there also is a balance that can be met here if you are these teams of, yes, you want to win, but this is a selection tournament. Want to make sure every individual gets expressed and an opportunity to display their skills. A little fumble inside the circle will allow for 1 to bring Disha Dhingra to strike, and she's 9 away from her 50. Has been striking it well. Has been it since the very beginning. Has gotten quicker as the game's gone on, which is good to see. This one going to find the outer half of the bat. A misfield makes it an easy single. Probably could have been left alone for wide, but just those big swings coming through. Again, for those of you who have joined us today, we appreciate it. You guys joining us and tuning in to this historic and exciting competition we have. 4 teams here in Pearland, as this one is, again, worked away for 1. Misfield could allow them, could come back for 2, and they will come back for 2 late. They're a little off target, but a little bit sloppy in the field there on the south, just in that occasion. Probably should have been kept to 1, but heads up running for the Southeast Central. And today we had 2 games. Again, you're watching the Southeast Central versus the East. The West and the Southwest played at Balkey's Field, just over the fence there. As this one's hit into the air and easily taken. Simplest of catches there at cover. Made it like really effortless. Amul just trying to go over the top. Knew she had to up the ante. Not much wrong with the shot. Just didn't execute it. And the 5th wicket falls for the East, and Adni Abao, in her first over, picks up a wicket. Again, you can just take a look here. There's not much wrong with this shot. It's on the offside, looking to play it through that area. Just didn't quite get the connection she was looking for. And that'll close out the 18th over. It's 77 for 5. So walking you into this 19th over. Remember, we had 2 games today. We talked about it earlier, and there'll be 4 tomorrow. So make sure you join us. We'll have the East taking on the West, which we played right here at Musa Stadium. So that one you can watch live. The Southeast Central and the Southwest will take on each other at Balkey's Field. And then we'll have the East and the Southwest at 2 p.m. Central. Early games at 10 a.m. Central. The East and Southwest, again, 2 p.m. Central here at Musa Stadium. And then the West will take on the Southeast Central at 2 p.m. Central at Balkey's Field. Well, we'll see the return of Bhumika Badiraju with the ball in hand. And the other number 1 has made her way into the middle. Melanie Henry the captain, she'll be out there. And again, after the start they got off to with the ball, I'll be disappointed with how they finished with the bat. Just didn't get off to the quickest start and didn't really find runs at consistent intervals. When you talk about for the South, the wickets were falling, but they found runs and found a middle period where they could score in a partnership. And I think that's going to be the blueprint. Is sure, you'll lose wickets early, but that middle period, build a partnership, let two batters play for a couple of overs. This one is pumped through the offside. Again, when we think about what the Southeast Central had, you think about Jessica Wantagamua and Sasha Valabaheni. Those were the two that really got together and put together a partnership that I think carried the Southeast Central. And then they had little contributions from everyone else, and boundaries scored towards the end of the inning. Some extras helped them out. But we'll get our first look at Melanie Henry here with 11 deliveries to go. Needed 28, so still feasible. Just going to need some powerfully struck boundaries, and they'll find one. That's not going to do too much damage if you're the Southeast Central. If you're the East, you want to take this game as deep as possible. But in order to win it, you're going to need to find boundaries. It's really a game that is so daunting to get back into. This one taken into the leg side, but straight to that deep mid-wicket fielder. And really good field placing from the Southeast Central. We've seen really good field placing all day long. Good work in the field from both sides. Haven't left much to be desired in terms of fielding. Left alone and wide. Was it a wide? Looks like the hand stayed down. No, it's not been given a wide. It's been given a good ball there, and you can see the hands kind of fly and come down. And Melanie Henry wasn't too thrilled with that decision from the umpire. This one flied it up and just pushed away. Again, the East will have lessons to learn, and they'll be back on this wicket at Musa Stadium. So have that opportunity to know what the wicket has on offer. And how about this from Melanie Henry? Couple skips down the ground, and we talked about a shot earlier as a shot of the day. Well, that one's definitely got to be up there in contention. That's huge. The first 6 of either innings, and to close out the 19th over, where has this been? Flied it up, couple steps down the ground, and as easy and as simple as you like, showing off the power is the captain to close out that 19th over with that 6. It's 86 for 5. So 1 over to go, 20 runs to get. They'll need a couple of 4s here from Dishadingra or a couple of big strikes from Melanie Henry. The batting is in the middle to do it. It seems rather unlikely. Field spread out to protect the boundaries, long on, long off. No one in the deep on the offside in terms of the cover region. Got a third man in the cow corner. And Geetika Kodali starts off with a dot ball. And you can see Melanie Henry saying, you got to go over the top of that offside. That's where our opportunity to win this match is. And She is very correct about it. If you get her over the top of covers, anywhere from extra cover to backward point, and really to third man, you've got an opportunity wide given that time. And I think I would just implore Geethika to be a little bit straighter with the field that she has. Just no fine leg. Don't have to bowl full and straight. But with the long off, the long on, and especially the cow corner fielder, you'd have to imagine you'd be bowling closer to the stumps. That wide, there's no protection out on the offside there. Is closer, hits straight up, but it's going to be in the gap inside the ring. It'll be one. It'll bring Melanie Henry to strike. And with 4 balls to go, 18 runs required. So obviously can win the game in 3 balls if she's able to connect on 3 sixes. Again, we've already seen 1 from her. There's going to have to be boundaries from here on out. Really no way around that unless we have some extras. That's a great delivery, that. Closer to the body. That one is angling inside of Melanie Henry. And Godali is showing why she's been playing all over the world, whether that's in the fair break, whether it's in the women's 60, whether it's for the USA. This time connects, but just could find the fielder. Again, experience here from Geethika Godali. She's going to close out this game in really remarkable fashion. She's bowled 16 deliveries, given up just 5 runs. Wide in there as well. Again, another one of these cool customers. Doesn't seem to get really rattled by anything, and I think it's the confidence she has in herself, in her own game, and then the confidence that gets instilled in you when you do find success. So here we go, final delivery. Are there any fireworks on offer? Or will it be a quiet kill here for the Southeast Central? Be one that's hit into the offside. They'll get 1 for it. But a commanding victory here for the Southeast Central. They hold the East to just 91. Disha Dhingra will be 4 short of her 50. Played the entire innings. Geethika Godali, very impressive in her 3 overs, just giving up 7 runs. A complete team victory this for Southeast Central, winning by 14 runs. Again, when we talk about the complete team victory, talk about it with the bat. They went down to the last batter, and Shavia had a 4 off her hips to end that first innings. And then whether it was Shavia Kanumuri or whether it was Jessica Willington-Gamiwa, whether it was Geethika Godali, whether it was Bhumika Bhattacharjee, Ritu Singh, Adnan Yabal, really impressive there. And with the ball for the East, they were very impressive. The likes of Izzy Slade-Jones looked incredibly good, and Melanie Henry showed her prowess on both ends. Diti Chirasima with the ball today. So plenty of really good performances, plenty of things to build on for both teams. For the East, again, they'll be back here at Musa Stadium, and they'll have an opportunity to regroup, assess how they want to play on this wicket. And for the Southeast Central, they'll head over to Balkes Field tomorrow with a heap of confidence to get a win in Game 1. Again, remember on Friday we'll have the finals between the 2 teams with the most points in the competition. So we appreciate everyone for tuning in to this coverage of the 2023 USA Cricket Women's Nationals. It's been fantastic. Again, all the pictures you've seen today brought to you by our broadcast partner, Smart Choice. We'll get you the player of the match in a little bit here because there's plenty of options. And so that's going to be what we're waiting on now is who's going to be the player of our match today, who's going to be our SMK Global Player of the Match. Again, plenty of really good options. Jessica Wintagamiwa, remember what she did with the bat, scoring 20-odd runs, and then with the ball, takes a wicket. Geetika Kodali, really impressive in the 3-over she bowled opening, and then closing out the innings. And still plenty of names that haven't been said. So there's plenty of options here, and I'm curious to see who they have gone with. So we'll get that information to you in just a little bit. So just having that little huddle, team huddle, and then we'll get the word of who the player of the match is. But again, for those of you who want to tune in for tomorrow's coverage starts tomorrow at 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. West Pacific time, rather. So no matter what coast or if you're in between, you can find the games at Musa, and then we'll have the second game at 2 p.m. Central. And again, 4 games tomorrow, so really exciting that we've expanded from the 2 teams to the 4 teams, and I'll be here throughout every single match and every single day. And we'll have plenty of other members alongside me. It was a pleasure to have John Aaron with me today. And again, once again, a shout out our broadcast partner, Smart Choice, who has really been terrific and getting you all these pictures of the player of the match. And again, we'll hear from some of the coaches, and we'll have a second man in the booth with me on Friday. Really exciting times here for USA Cricket. We've seen a really good start for USA Cricket, and we've seen a great little month of cricket in July with Major League Cricket, with the things that we've seen there, and then with USA Cricket, both the women's and the men's side, especially the women's side, doing what they've done right now. Incredible to have this tournament get going. And it looks like the SMK Global Player of the Match was Jessica Wintagamiwa for her incredible display with both bat and ball today. So congrats to Jessica, and we'll get to see plenty more of that. Thank you to all of you guys for joining our coverage of this 2023 USA Cricket Women's Nationals right here at Musa Cricket Stadium. Thank you to our broadcast partner, Smart Choice. Thank you to our Player of the Match partner, SMK Global. We appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. For Aman Patel, for the entire production, and for USA Cricket, we thank you for joining us, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.